As Congress returned to work, Democrats took control of the House this week. The new majority includes Ann Kirkpatrick, representative of Arizona's 2nd Congressional District. Last month, she joined Christopher Conover in Arizona Public Media's radio studio to talk about her return to Congress.
You've been in Congress before, both as a member of the majority when you were first elected and the minority. Based on that experience, what do you expect come January?
Well, I'm the only one of the incoming class who's actually been in the majority. And so what I've been talking about is it's not easy to be in the majority. When we were in the majority before, we took on hefty issues, legislation, debated it vigorously in caucus, and then came to a consensus. And this is why I support Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, because she was able to lead us through that effort and get us together and bring legislation that we could pass. So we never took a bill to the floor of the House that we couldn't pass. But it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy.
You mentioned you support Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. You were there last time she was Speaker. Does she need to do things differently this time around?
Well, let me first say, no other speaker before her or since her has been able to have the accomplishments, legislative accomplishments, that she has had. But yes, it's time to start empowering a new generation of leadership in the Democratic caucus.
What has changed in D.C.? You've been up there for a couple of weeks now. You were out of D.C. for a couple of years. What's changed?
I see more bipartisanship. So it's really interesting to me. And I'll just give you an example. When I first was elected in 2008 and sworn in 2009, I would make the effort to go over to the Republican side. There really aren't sides in the House. We don't have assigned seating, but people kind of gravitate to one side or the other and sit by my colleagues and get to know them. What I noticed recently is Republicans coming to the Democratic side and getting to know us. And so I really see an effort to unite our country, unite Congress, get rid of the division that we've been under for a couple of years, and really work together for the betterment of our country.
What's the first bill you're hoping to file?
So the first bill I'm going to file is my bill to allow Dreamers to work on Capitol Hill. So I introduced this bill before, and it came out of my immigration working group. So I'm setting up working groups on specific issues. My immigration working group last time said if people could hear the stories of these Dreamers in Washington, D.C., we would do the Dreamers Act and we would pass comprehensive immigration reform. So that's my first bill. It would allow Dreamers to work on Capitol Hill. I plan to be one of the first employers of a Dreamer. Already have somebody in mind.
If comprehensive immigration reform comes up and your Dreamer bill is in there, including the bill you want to file to have Dreamers hired by other members of Congress, but there's also a wall in there, is that something you can vote for?
No, absolutely not. And we don't want a wall in southern Arizona. A third of our economy comes from Mexico. We want to build bridges, not walls.
One of the things during the campaign we heard a lot of Democrats talk about was impeachment of the president. Is that something that we need to do right now?
I'm a former deputy Pima County attorney, and I never interfered with law enforcement's investigations. They did their investigation, then they wrote up on a report, brought it to me, and I would decide whether or not there was a crime to be charged. And that's the same process we should use with impeachment. Let the investigators do their investigation, write up a report, which I really believe should be made public to the American people, and then we'll decide from there.
During the campaign, in both positive and negative ways, you were quoted as saying the vote for the Affordable Care Act was one of the proudest votes you had when you were in Congress. President Obama has even admitted that it has its problems. Are there changes that need to be made?
Well, and let me just say I did vote for the Affordable Care Act. I was told that if I did, I would lose my next election, which I did, but I made a comeback. And yes, it does need to be changed. One of the problems we've had in Arizona is the lack of insurance companies in the healthcare market. So the bill that I want to introduce would allow people to buy into Medicare at any age. So it's paid for because they're buying in, paying an insurance premium, but Medicare is a good system. I've never met anyone who didn't like their Medicare.
Have you had a moment yet, maybe when you went back to D.C. and saw the craziness and said, oh gosh, what did I do? I have 3 grandkids. I could have just stayed with their craziness in southern Arizona.
I've had those moments. I think I had one of those moments today on my drive here. But, you know, I have an opportunity, and my favorite quote is Thomas Edison, who said, opportunity is missed by most people because it comes dressed in overalls and it looks like work. So I've got my jean jacket on today. I'm ready to get to work, and I hope to have create a better life for my grandchildren.
All right, well, thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.